Globalization and integration resulted in a new approach to the threat of international trade in cultural goods. This threat is smuggling. Over the past 2 decades in Poland, the approach to export has changed from highly restrictive to more and more liberal. After the Polish accession to the Schengen zone, in connection with less vigilant border controls, the previous method of combating trafficking of cultural goods has become ineffective. The provisions of the previous directive in no way have compensated for the withdrawal of the old forms of border control. Implementation of a new directive has a great chance to improve the situation. Over the years, illegal trafficking of cultural goods in Poland had different forms and evolved. This was due to the changes of the range of cultural goods with the obligation of an export permit, the changes and trends in the global art markets, and the demand for certain cultural goods, I mean here architectural details. In Poland, the liberalization of export was introduced in 2010. It was a changes introduced in the Act on the Protection and Guardianship of Monuments. The liberalization was achieved by introducing thresholds concerning value and age, from which the permit was obligatory. Previously, almost every cultural good with which was more than 50 years old needed a permit, an export document. In practice, at the borders, many of the cultural objects were detained incorrectly because they were classified as requiring permission. Unfortunately, in the case of illegally exported cultural goods, prosecutors often called off investigations because of the low social harm. And as a consequence, the violators were left without punishment. A good example could be an auction in Stuttgart and attempt to sell 2 Chinese plates from the 18th century that were illegally deported from Poland. It must be noted that both plates were in the Polish Register of Monuments. The problem was also the import of illegally exported cultural goods to Poland, which were often derived from theft. This is an example of a bishop's crook that was stolen from France and in 1993, and Poland returned it to the Embassy of France in 2008. Another example here outside the EU region case is the theft of ritual masks from a museum in Harare in Zimbabwe. It was in 2006. 3 years later, it was found in Poland and returned to the place of origin. To improve the fight against smuggling and, of course, Polish accession to the Schengen zone in the years 2004 and 2005, the 2 agreements were concluded between the authorities of monument protection and law enforcement agencies as police, border guards, and customs service. This cooperation seems to be a very important pillar of cultural heritage protection. However, after this over 10 years of existing, the agreements need an urgent upgrade. As predicted by experts previously, Polish accession to the Schengen zone resulted in a decrease of detection and solved cases concerning illegal export of cultural goods. Schengen zone and the mitigation of the export procedures that was mentioned in 2010 resulted in a decrease of number of permits issued for the export of monuments. However, according to the existing data, now in the national list of stolen and illegally exported monuments, there are more than 9,000 cultural goods cultural items. Currently, we can observe new forms of crime, such as smuggling stolen cultural goods from, for example, martyrdom museums. This case attracted the media all around the world. Also, attempts to use fake but very well prepared documentation during the border crossing, that is shown to the officers, and the problems of smuggling architectural details. The implementation of the directive should be perceived as a chance to reduce the illegal export and import. The Polish draft that is now available on the government's website on national cultural property introduces some main changes, very crucial changes. It's a criminal provision due to the illegal entry of cultural goods into Poland. Yesterday I mentioned this register books obligation, register books duty, new operational powers for police, border guards and customs, and of course, last but not least, the module of internal market information system that would be used for the directive goals. Concluding, the implementation of the directive could be a great opportunity to reduce smuggling. Thank you for your attention.